Alright, this is John Colo with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we got another exciting episode for you, and in this episode we got the Tribest Glass Vacuum Personal Blender. So I'm so excited about this vacuum blender because it basically, you're blending in glass, and I know there's a lot of people out there that don't want to have plastic contact with their food, so this is definitely the blender for you. Also, this blender is nice and portable, so if you travel often, you could, put this in your luggage, check-in, because the TSA will not allow the blade through the carry-on, and you could be blending when you're traveling. And we are the first retailer in the United States to start offering the glass personal vacuum blender. And so I guess Tribest did come out with this model, I think, like last year, the standard glass personal blender without the vacuum. And that's a decent unit. I mean, it's basically trying to take the place in a healthier version of like a NutriBullet or whatever, that has a personal size. So if you don't blend like a lot of quantity at once, 16 ounces, 32 ounces, plus they have like easy to go containers so that you can take your smoothies with you to go. That being said, when using a standard blender or conventional blender that does not have the vacuum, right, I encourage you guys to blend right before you're going to drink it, because during the blending process causes lots of oxidative damage to the smoothie that you're creating, that then, especially if sitting even for longer, the taste is going to start tasting bad, and it's going to basically, you're going to lose some of the valuable phytonutrients in there. Now with the all new glass vacuum personal blender, you can blend under vacuum and then store your mixtures in either a mason jar or the included personal blender jars, and take that with you to work, and it's going to store a lot longer, and the smoothie will not degrade as quickly under the vacuum system if you are vacuum blending it. And so that I really like a lot. So if you are taking smoothies to go, definitely you want to do it in a vacuum blender, then put it in a glass container, and then suck out the air, and then take it to work, and of course keep it real cold. Anyways, this unit I like because it's small and compact. It's 500 watts. It has a 5-year warranty, which is significantly longer than other personal blenders on the market. And actually, this unit now includes Tribest's Onetouch 12-volt automatic vacuum pump, the most powerful vacuum pump that I've found on any vacuum blender at this time. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and open this baby up. So on the inside, you're going to get a number of different parts here. I guess the first part coming out is the blender itself. So I like this. It's just small and lightweight. It has a detachable cord with an on-off switch on the back. And this is 500 watts, made in Korea. Now, the other thing I want to point out on this is that, unlike most personal blenders that have plastic on plastic contact, this actually has metal splines here on the gear, so it's going to be a lot more durable than the plastic. This is not going to tend to break. Let's see, next inside you got the instruction manual, and the warranty card, 5-year warranty on that. I do encourage you guys to register the warranty online. You'll save a stamp. This comes in multiple languages, and one of the things I would recommend for every company that puts out a brand new juicer or blender is to come out with a recipe book when you buy the juicer or blender. Some companies already do this, and I think that's great, because a lot of people that are buying a new appliance, they're new into trying to turn their health around and to eat healthier, and they don't know exactly how to eat more fruits and vegetables. So I think that'd be a really good suggestion there. Let's see, next coming on out, well, we got the standard, with the standard glass personal blender, you would get several of these glass carafes here, or blending carafes. The cool thing about this is that you blend literally just in these handy to-go carafes. You just will put the blade assembly on, blend in there, flip it over, and then put the lid on and the top. And then you can just basically take it to go, put in your car, drink it while you're going to work. Definitely really cool. Next, of course, we have the blade assembly. So I really like this blade assembly. I don't know if you guys can see that there on the camera. And then this is the ring that holds it on the bottom. So basically, on this blade assembly, if you guys could see it, it's all stainless steel. And so even the base of this is stainless steel, unlike some blenders that have a glass carafe. The bottom sometimes is plastic, even though the blade's stainless steel. But this is all stainless steel. The other nice thing about this is that, you know, unlike fixed blades on some vacuum blenders that you can't ever take out easily or remove to clean, you know, you could easily take this part apart to clean, run this under hot water, and basically get all the particulate off. And actually, this is a nice piece here. Once again, on the bottom, metal contacts, which basically contacts the metal on top of the blender there. And so then basically what happens is you could take your carafe here, and you would basically just put the blade set down in there, and then you would just screw on the base, and then you could set this on the unit, lock it in place, and you're all ready to blend. So that's the previous version, but now the new version, the vacuum personal blender, now comes with this new 42-ounce size 100% glass carafe. Now this does have a plastic top, so when you're blending, it's going to blend in glass with stainless steel on the bottom, so as long as you don't glug your juicer, which makes everything hit the top, you're not going to have any plastic contact. But if you're not careful, you glug up and you might touch some of this plastic. Now this plastic is BPA-free for those of you guys that are concerned with that. And then how this works is basically just unscrew this bottom here, and this blade assembly comes out. And then you could put this blade assembly right on this guy. Goes right in. Wow, it's actually a rather tight fit there. And then you're going to go ahead and screw this guy in place. All right. And then you put your vacuum top on. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get your vacuum pump, which is the next item. Now, Tribest is offering this vacuum pump separately, and so this will work with their Tribest Dynapro vacuum blender. Also, this will work with this unit, but or if you actually already have a previous glass personal blender, you could actually buy the 42-ounce carafe and then buy this separately. That being said, it's a lot cheaper in the get-go just to buy the glass personal vacuum blender package deal. You're going to save a lot of money than buying the glass personal blender and then trying to like buy this separately. This will also work with different sous vide machines, and actually I use this to seal, to vacuum seal my mason jars, you know, after I make juices or smoothies that I don't drink immediately after I make them. And this is the unit right here. Super simple, super easy. I really have learned to love this unit. I've been using it a while with the Dynapro. I'll put a link down below to the video on that. So that's like their plastic, larger format, 64-ounce vacuum blender with improved blade technology and the automatic vacuum. That's the Dynapro 150 A-B. Don't get the previous version. It doesn't have the upgrades. Anyways, that comes with this too, and I've been using this a lot. Works really well. 12 volts. So, you know, if you open the back here, you can see the batteries, but this actually just pops out, and there's actually additional batteries in back, so it's nice and powerful. You know, you should only use like alkaline batteries in here. That's what comes with the unit in the get-go. And then the most economical batteries to put in here afterwards would be the EN Loop rechargeable batteries. You could buy them at Costco. I think if you buy like one pack, you get enough batteries for this, and that's about 20 bucks. And basically one charge of the batteries could run, on alkaline batteries anyways, about 100 to 150 cycles of vacuuming, and I've used it, my personal unit, a lot. Hasn't run out yet, so we'll see what happens. Maybe if you're using the rechargeable alkalines, maybe you'll get a little bit less, maybe around up to 100. I don't know yet because I haven't tested that. But yeah, so basically this is a one-touch button. You know, unlike other vacuum, you know, blenders that you might have to pump, or you gotta like manually sense if there's enough vacuum on it. This is super simple because you just take this vacuum pump, automatic, you put it on the top, you press this button on top once, you'll hear that come on, and now what's happening is on the bottom of this unit, and you got to press it down firmly so it makes a good contact until it doesn't. Look, I can lift this whole unit up because it has a vacuum lock, and it's sucking all the excess oxygen out of the carafe now. Now this, depending on how full you have the carafe, so like right now the carafe is empty. It may take 30 seconds, maybe even 45 seconds to pull all the extra oxygen and put this under vacuum because it is empty. Oh, it's starting to slow down. But because if you had this mostly full and had only this much space in it, it might take as short as 10 seconds because this unit doesn't just run for X seconds, 30 seconds straight. It actually senses the amount of vacuum in the container and will stop at a predetermined point. So that's very important because some vacuum blenders might just run on vacuum for 30 seconds. So I like that Tribest has got this dialed in. But that's basically how that works. And then let's take a look here. Only the last few things in the box. You got your removable cord here. Let's go ahead and stop this. You got your removable cord for the power. And also you have an extra gasket for the bottom, where the blade assembly locks in. I believe Tribest should also include maybe some extra gaskets like they do on their Dyna Pro to ensure that, if they do have some issues with the gasket going bad, the vacuum function will still work. And then the only last thing in here actually is kind of nice is you got a 100% stainless steel scoop. So let's go ahead and pull this guy off. And so if we take this, before we open the carafe, you got to pull this little black lever here, or tab, on the carafe, and listen carefully. And that lets out all the excess vacuum pressure before you open it. And I like to always hold my hand on the handle and then basically push up. Because these vacuum lids have a vacuum, if you just try to push this up, it might give resistance, right? So I always try to pull this up and push up at the same time to remove the lid. But anyways, how this works is you could actually remove this inner lid, and now you could use this tamper, which fits in perfectly, to basically push things into the blade. So if you're not using the vacuum function, you would be able to use this. If you're using the vacuum function, obviously you can't use this. So that makes it really nice and easy. And then also when you're done blending, you could actually just use this to scoop things out of your blender. So 100% stainless steel. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything in the box. I think the next thing I want to do is actually set this up and demonstrate blending some different, smoothies and flax seeds and mixtures to show you guys actually how it works, because actually I haven't even used this one before. Alright, so I'm back now for the first test, and what I'll be doing today is I'll be grinding up flax seeds. This can be a really hard task for any blender. Generally, smaller personal blenders tend to do this a little bit better. High power blenders such as the Dyna Pro commercial blender will do this task fairly well, but a standard, off the shelf big box store blender not going to do this too well because the blades and the speed and the power of the motor are just not optimized to grind flax seeds. Actually, coffee grinder really grinds flax seeds the best. But now with the Tribest glass personal vacuum blender, you could grind your flax seeds under vacuum to prevent some of the oxidative damage. I mean, why are seeds encased in a hard shell, right? So they could last like in storage or out in nature before they sprout for years. And so the problem with the flax seeds is that, especially if you try to eat them whole, you don't really get the nutrition out of them, especially because most people don't chew enough. So that's why I like to actually grind them up. But the challenge is once you grind flax seeds up, you expose the inner part of the seed, or basically all the different nutrients, the essential fats in there, to air, which could cause oxidation. And this is what you see when you might blend apples and water in a vacuum blender versus not, and the apples done in a vacuum blender will not brown as quickly because of the enzymatic reaction that is now not occurring because you were blending and preserving some of the phytonutrients in there. Same thing when you're basically blending up the flax seeds. If you're grinding them up in oxygen standard conditions, you're going to cause some of the oxidation. And under vacuum now, you could minimize the oxidative damage done that can rancidify fats. Now, for this reason, I don't actually necessarily recommend that you guys buy flax powder at the store because it could have been done years ago and it could be going bad. I encourage you guys to buy the flax seeds and then grind them yourself at home. And if you buy flax seeds like I do at Natural Grocers, you're also going to get the cheapest price, and it's going to be significantly less expensive than buying the pre-ground powders. Now, the trick on the Tribest personal vacuum blender is there's like these little lock symbols on 3 different points on the bottom of the carafe there, and you have to actually line this up with the little lock symbol on the bottom here, offset, and then turn it to lock so it locks in place. If you don't do this, this blender will not turn on. This is a safety feature to make sure that the jar is on completely. If you have it on completely, it actually locks into place, so you can literally lift this whole guy up. Now, the only thing about this, I think, fully assembled, this is 18 inches tall, so it's a little bit tall. So this is not going to be storing like this underneath a standard height kitchen cabinet. So, you could store it like, next to each other like this, but not like this because it actually is a little bit tall. Anyways, once we got the flax seeds in there, we're going to go ahead and put the vacuum pump on, which is actually a little bit out of the shot since it's so tall. We're going to hit the button once, and it starts to pump out. And we're just going to go ahead and let that run and suck out all the excess oxygen in this carafe. Alright, so the unit shut off automatically, and then you could pull this off to verify, and it should make a little suction sound. And once you do that, then you're ready to blend. So this blender basically has 2 modes. You have a pulse, where you could basically press it and it'll pulse it, or you could do a variable speed control. Now this blender, to me it's a little bit loud, but that's probably some of the power of the 500 watts here. So generally to blend flaxseed, you got to put it on high power, and just blend it on up. So let's go ahead and do it. Alright, so as you guys can see, I agitated the carafe a little bit as it was going, and this has actually worked quite well. I'm super impressed. I mean, I have like literally a flax powder here, and the cool thing about this was done in completely under vacuum. You could also do nut butters under vacuum. If you're doing nut butters, you might have to add some oil because some raw nuts don't have enough oil content to blend up into a butter. That's why I like to use a good percentage of macadamia nuts lined at the bottom with other nuts at top. The macadamia nuts generally have a higher oil content and will butter up a lot easier. Of course, this was done in a vacuum, so now we're going to go ahead and grab this little tab on the top and listen very carefully. Done in a vacuum, preserving the most essential fats without causing rancidity as possible. Alright, we're going to go ahead and lift this top off here. And look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that there. We're going to tap this around, get it kind of loose. The base of this, which is good and bad, is kind of narrow. So, for the most part, when it was blending up and grinding the flax seeds into the flax powder, it had pretty good circulation until it got kind of powdery, and then maybe like it didn't circulate as well because once you grind open the flax seeds, some of the fats are exposed, and then they start sticking together. So that's when I was shaking it up a little bit, and I do like that it actually locks in place so that you could actually do it, without hurting the coupler, because on other blenders, if you try to do that, it's basically going to strip out your coupling. But on this machine, because it has to be locked into place in order for it to run, that'll never happen. That being said, the manufacturer probably doesn't want you to agitate this super much when you're blending. Anyways, here's a bowl, and let's go ahead and pour this flax meal out. Look at that. Man, this to me is a really nice consistency. Looks like we got a pretty good blend there. I'm not seeing any like leftover like flax seeds, and this is a really nice fine meal. Probably this is a better job than maybe even their high-end Dyna Pro vacuum blender did here. Alright, so I do see a few seeds now on the side that basically got stuck to the side that actually didn't get blended up. But overall, this is quite an excellent job, and I'm super impressed. Alright, so now I'm back, and we're ready to make the next recipe in the Tribest glass personal vacuum blender. And basically this recipe is actually ode to Starbucks. Well, ode to Starbucks, not meaning it's ode to Starbucks, but ode like in homage to, or a better, healthier replacement version than what they would feed you at Starbucks. So basically what we're going to do is we got about 28 ounces of coconut water. we're going to go ahead and pour into the blender. And very important in any blender, always load your liquid ingredients first. So if you're, blending tomatoes and greens, put all your tomatoes in first, then followed by the greens, not all the greens and then the tomatoes. Next, we're going to go ahead and put in, we have a little bit of coffee concentrate, right? And this stuff is quite concentrated. We're just going to go ahead and pour that in for, some nice flavor. And then we got some nuts. So instead of using dairy, I encourage you guys to eat nuts and make your own nut milks. Nut milk, sometimes people like to extract them out with a nut milk maker or whatever. But if you have a blender that's actually good enough, it's just going to cream up the nuts into the mixture, and and some fiber is probably good for you to eat from the nuts. And so in this case, we're using a little bit of walnuts here, rich in omega-3 fatty acids. And then finally, for a sweetener, I'm not adding any kind of white processed powdered sugar that are all full of calories with no nutrient value. We're using basically a fruit, and this is basically dates, fresh dates, dried naturally on the tree, California. And the dates will actually add the nice sweetness to the drink. I'm also add a nice, darker color to the drink, but also add a lot of different nutrients in there, including potassium. All right, so let's go ahead and pour that in. And then, that was pretty much the recipe, right? Just 4 things, super simple, super easy. Next, we're going to go ahead and blend under vacuum. And now, why is it important to blend under vacuum? So in this recipe, it's not like we're using super high phytonutrient blueberries, which I will be doing next. But the thing with vacuum blender that I want you guys to realize is that when you blend under vacuum, let me go ahead and get this started here. Put that on top, press that down once. And now basically you're going to see some bubbles coming up from the bottom, letting you know it's working. So what I want to tell you guys about is actually the reason for vacuum blending is to do more than just preserve more nutrients and have better storage attributes. In a recipe like this where we're blending mostly water with some nuts, of course we're going to cause less rancidity to some of the fats in there. We're going to preserve some of the phytonutrients in there. But the other thing is, when you blend under vacuum, you're going to get a more efficient kind of blending, because, say I put like marshmallows in there, which I've done before, dry, and I vacuum them, the marshmallows will expand. So things expand under the vacuum. So things are going to basically kind of get pulled out and chopped up more efficiently. Also, when you blend fats under vacuum, it kind of makes it a little bit more creamy instead of a lot more like hard packed. So that's a really difference in the texture. In addition, if you're blending under high speed, it's going to create more air in your blended mixture. Not to say that this is going to be air bubble free. There's going to be less air bubbles than if you blended it without the vacuum, without being under vacuum. All right, so the blender or the automatic vacuum pump stopped, and we're going to go ahead and pull that off. And now we're just going to go ahead and blend this up on high. And turn this guy off there. Looks like we're nice and blended here. And remove this. And let's make sure we're under vacuum by pulling the tab. Listen carefully. Oh, I think I knocked it a little bit, and I heard a little bit of sucking. And it still looks like we got a vacuum lock on there. Let's go ahead and take that apart. And look at that, now we have a nice rich coffee nut milk sweetened by dates. We're going to go ahead and take a glass here and pour it in. Normally I would pour this in and just drink it on up. But today what I thought I'd do for you guys is actually just pour it through a sieve here, because I actually want to show you guys actually and learn how good this actually blended up. So as you see, we're pouring this in there. And we poured it all the way through to the top. And actually we have a very little particulate in there. That being said, oh, and we had 7 ice cubes in here. So it's like an ice cappuccino mocha, or whatever they call them, I don't know. And next, let's go ahead and pour the rest through and kind of take a look and see. Normally any particulate will fall through the bottom of the blender. And so once we pour this out, there's a little bit of particulate in there. This wouldn't really bother me to drink it. And let's go ahead and shake this out so we can show you here what it is. So on the bottom, if we take a look there, you can see there's very little fiber left. And if I look at that, let's take a look. It looks mostly like the dates. And I'll do you guys a favor, I'm going to eat that. There's hardly anything. Well, it's like coffee flavored like dates and walnuts. Yeah, just some little small particulate. I mean, if it was me, I probably wouldn't even bother to filter it out because now I got to clean this sieve too. That's quite good. But anyways, I think this worked great actually. Now, you know, the one caveat for me is I believe in the instruction manual for the personal blender, they only say you should run it for 30 seconds maximum. And I definitely did run it for longer. You know, if you run it for too short of a time, you won't get a complete blend. So you want to make sure you run it long enough, but not too long to overheat the motor. Because this is not like a commercial version like their DynaPro, which is actually commercially certified. You can use it, you know, full day of work. This is a home unit, you know, meant for light duty use. Anyways, let me go ahead and try my Starbucks. Wow, that's delicious. Alright, so for the last demonstration of this episode, I thought I'd make one of my favorite green smoothies. And in this recipe, I only got a few things. Number one, we got coconut water, 28 ounces. We got a little bowl of frozen organic blueberries. We got a few macadamia nuts. This is to add some fat to the smoothie, to increase the uptake of some of the fat-soluble vitamins and other phytonutrients in the smoothie. And then I have a whole heaping bowl here of spinach, baby spinach from my garden, as well as chocolate mint. Now, one of the reasons why I really like the vacuum blending is because it keeps more of the flavors in the recipe. Like if you blend in a standard blender, when you blend, you're basically oxidizing some of the nutrients, and that also, you know, lessens some of the flavors because some of the nutrients in there are actually the flavors. So I like that a lot. So anyways, let's go ahead and add these ingredients. We'll go ahead and pour the blueberries in there. We're going to go ahead and add the macadamia nuts. Let's go ahead and add these greens in. These are going to fall everywhere because there's so many of them. And finally, we're going to go ahead and add our coconut water. Now, I do like to use coconut water instead of a purified water or distilled water. And that's for the simple fact that, you know, coconut water is filtered by the coconut palm. Ooh, right up to 40 ounces. The coconut water is filtered by the coconut palm, and it actually adds, you know, nutrients in there, including plant cytokines that are anti-aging for the coconut and probably also anti-aging for us, as well as minerals in their properly absorbable form. Right, when you're drinking water, even if it has, you know, minerals in there, magnesium and calcium and all these things in there, might also have other contaminants in there, you know, MTBE, chlorine, chloramine, fluoride. And so I like the coconut water because it's been filtered by the plant, but also the minerals are in an form because they've been basically chelated and have the proper charge because it has already gone through the coconut palm. Anyways, let's go ahead and put the vacuum top on. Now, very important, when you put the vacuum top on, you want to make sure, you know, you don't have any leaves or anything else that's going to run into the seal, because that may prevent you from getting a nice seal. We're going to go ahead and put that on. And then we're going to go ahead and take our Onetouch vacuum pump and put that on. And when you put this on, make sure you don't put it at a cockeyed angle, all right? Make sure you put it square on with the top there. And when I start this up, I like to press down a little bit just to make sure it's going. And if you look very closely, you'll see bubbles, you know, that are in between the spaces of the blueberries, maybe in the blueberries, in between the spinach, where water did not go. It's actually kind of pulling those out. And because this was mostly filled up, it actually didn't have to vacuum as much, and it's already shut off. So then you could verify that it has a vacuum by pulling this off, and it's going to be a little hard, and you're going to hear a sound. And then I like to basically put it back on and press it again. And then it should go off immediately because now the vacuum sensor is sensing that there's enough vacuum on there so that it doesn't have to run. Now we can pull this off, and basically now we're ready to blend. So let's go ahead and get blended. Alright, let's go ahead and turn that baby off and take a look at what we got here. Once again, when you take the blender off, you're going to release the vacuum. Now what I've noticed, because this carafe is smaller, you know, there's going to be less vacuum to be released because this carafe is smaller. So let's go ahead and pull this. And usually that happens fairly quick. And once again, when I open this up, I pull the top up and just carefully angle this up here to break the vacuum seal. And let's go ahead and take a look at this nice green, or actually in this case purple smoothie here. Let's go ahead and check the consistency. I like that there's a nice pour spout on here. Look at that. You can have a nice stream there. It's not going all over the place, unlike some blenders I've used in the past. Now I'm not seeing any remnants or particles of spinach. I am seeing, like, you know, some of the blueberry skin that didn't get totally fractionated up. But, you know, it looks like a really nice smoothie to me. Let me go ahead and taste it here. Definitely good. But if I had to do it again, I probably would put a bit less coconut water. I like it a little more thicker, you know, myself. Anyways, it appears that the Tribest glass personal vacuum blender did a great job. Now, this unit on the top is a little bit warm. The unit is warm itself. It does have a thermal overload, and in the instruction manual, it does say that you should run the blender for no longer than 30 seconds at a time, which is recommended, and then let it rest for 30 seconds. You know, that being said, I personally don't have a problem with running a little bit longer. You know, but then afterwards you definitely want to let it rest. You know, this is not a high volume, you know, blender by any means. It's a personal blender, you know, meant for doing small quantities. If you have 1 or 2 people in your household, if you have a big family, then you want to step up and you want to get the Tribest DynaPro commercial certified vacuum blender that could work in a juice bar or your home. You know, this one would be pretty good if you're 1 or 2 people, like I said, or if, like, maybe you want to have a vacuum blender at work. This would be a perfect blender to have at work, or maybe you have a DynaPro at home to use all the time, and then when you travel, you don't want to give up vacuum blending. You know, this provides you a nice, actually, small, compact unit you would actually take with you to travel. So, I mean, I think that's pretty much the end of this episode. If you want to purchase this DynaPro vacuum blender, be sure to check the link down below in the description and in the comment section. You could have a link and you could learn more about it. I really like this unit for a small personal blender. This will not be taking the place of my DynaPro blender, vacuum blender that's on my counter now. But if I travel, you know, I'll definitely be taking this with me because it's a nice, convenient, smaller form factor. And, you know, oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is vacuum blending. And the main reason for me is because I am preserving more nutrients based on some of the studies I've seen. For example, we blended blueberries today, right? And if you blend blueberries under vacuum, you're going to keep 2.5 times, that's 2.5 times more of a polyphenol antioxidant that they tested in Japan, you know, that's going to be in your smoothie than if you just blended it in a standard vacuum blender. What if the 2.5 times more of that polyphenol antioxidant is that same antioxidant that's responsible for keeping you healthy, for fighting off disease or anti-aging properties, right? You could have more benefits from the smoothies you're drinking by simply changing out the equipment, even if you're using the same exact food. So I think that's completely amazing, and the cool thing about this, unlike buying organic produce every single time, which could get expensive, this is a one-time purchase, and this has a full 5-year warranty, so I'll be using it solid for the next 5 years, increasing the amount of nutrients you're getting in every single smoothie, also decreasing the air bubbles, also the foam, increasing the flavor profiles, increasing and bettering the storage capability. So if you did have to take this to work, you know, it's not going to start to oxidize and go bad as fast as a standard, you know, blender. Oh, and let's talk about vitamins, you know. So they've done testing on the vitamin A, and there's 3 times more vitamin A retention in a vacuum blended smoothie versus a standard blended smoothie. So this, to me, is completely amazing, along with you're getting definitely a better texture as well. So, I mean, vacuum blending is the future. More people need to be aware about this technology. I'm glad that Tribest now has a second vacuum blender to make it available for more people on the market. The other thing I want to say is, if you guys enjoyed this video and my demonstrations, I would encourage you to support me in my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. That's very important to me because that keeps my food on the table, allows me to pay my bills, so I can continue to make these videos for you guys. And if you guys purchase from anywhere else, I don't get the credit, and I might not be making these videos any longer if I go out of business. So I encourage you guys to support me in my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. And I want to let you guys know that we have a price match policy. So if you find a lower price from any other authorized retailer on the delivered pricing, I'm glad to match that price to gain your business. Not only on the price, which I know is important to some of you guys, but what you guys don't realize is that a lot of work goes into my videos to educate you guys, and support you guys before and also after the sale. Should you have questions about this unit on why it's not working properly, how you could do it, how you could blend more efficiently, I'm here to answer all your questions. This is something you're not going to get if you purchase from a big box store that does not use the appliances on an everyday basis like I do in my healthy lifestyle. So I want to thank you guys in advance for those of you guys that will purchase from me, and I want to thank you guys for those of you guys that have purchased from me in the past, so that I'm able to do literally what I love, is to share the joy of the fresh fruits and vegetables and some of the appliances that allow you to maximize the nutrition you're going to get out of them. So for more information and pricing on the Tribest glass personal vacuum blender, check the links down below. Also be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on any of my new and upcoming episodes coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up or what new product I'll be reviewing or sharing with you guys. Also be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge, over 500 episodes at this time, teach you guys all about the different appliances that allow you to eat more fruits and vegetables so that you guys could be healthy. And also be sure to share this video with somebody else you might think will like a vacuum blender that's a personal size, that's all glass, so they could start getting more nutrition out of their smoothies as well. Also be sure to check some of the links in the description where I will show the differences between a standard blender and the new Tribest Dyna Pro vacuum blender. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.